Hey folks, welcome to Chapter 1. In these videos, as I explained earlier in the intro, we will be just focusing on the key concepts in each chapter. And so with each week, you'll get a little something extra that will supplement your weekly reading. And so we're going to go ahead and get started. So this is Chapter 1, Exploring the World of Business and Economics. This week, we're going to discuss what you must do to be successful in today's business world. We'll define business. We'll identify the ways to measure economic performance. We'll examine the different phases in the typical business cycle. And then we'll summarize the factors that affect the business environment. And then we'll also, again, in each class, we'll discuss careers and possible opportunities for you. So, why study business? I think what's most important from my perspective is, particularly as your dedicated career coach, is really for helping you to choose a career. What's most relevant to you, and what are those business segments that you find interesting and find skilled at that you could potentially launch into a career. It'll help you also be a successful employee no matter what you do. The more you understand about business, because business is everything and everywhere is business, whether it's nonprofit, schools, churches, or it's big business or it's small business, everything has a business perspective. It'll actually also make you more culturally aware of the differences between people. It'll help you improve your management skills. Potentially, you could eventually start your own business, which is important to the economy. And I think it's really important just to be a better informed consumer and investor. So understanding about business will help you understand what it means to invest in a company and why you should purchase maybe from some companies and not others. Who makes the most money? I think this is really relevant in terms of business, and particularly when it comes to completing your degree or having a degree in business. If you look at the numbers here, high school graduate makes about $57,000. Some college $67,000 with an associate's degree. Average annual salary is about $77,000, and with a degree, a bachelor's degree. And I would say a bachelor's degree specifically in business, accounting, finance, marketing, or maybe some of the computer science degrees, there's this opportunity to obviously make more money, up to $120,000. So the investment is worth it in the end. And so the return you're going to get from a college degree is definitely going to pay dividends. Here's the definition. Basically, the definition of a business: it's an organized effort of individuals, a group of individuals, to produce and sell for a profit goods and services that satisfy the needs of society. And so in order to have a business, really there's 4 different resources that you will need to capitalize on to make your business successful. And we will keep coming back to these resources over and over again. And so the first one is human resources. Those are the people that work within the organization. The informational resources, those are could be, the one that's most probably well known to you is Google. Google is an information resource. It could also be financial documents. It could be your balance sheet or your income statement. It could be trade journal information. Anything that you're using to make decisions, that's information resources. Material resources basically are the things that we use to build, the things that we use to get things done. Computers, cars within a business, steel, wood, any of these things that help us either get the job done or build something. And then finally, financial resources. Those are that's the money or the capital that's used to invest in a company to help it grow. And so without all 4 of these, it's next to impossible to drive a business. So you do need all 4 of these. In my opinion, the most important one, and you can kind of figure this out for yourself, or Think about this yourself. I believe personally, human resources, the people that work for your company, that is the most important resource. You can have all the money, you can have all the information, all the building materials. If you don't have the right people who are tied to your vision, who are tied to the company's culture, who are there to get the job done, it's typically not going to be a successful endeavor. So here, in terms of factors of production, you'll see these are the resources that we use to produce goods and services. So land and natural resources, these are the material resources that we use: crude oil, forest minerals, land, water. Labor, this is basically the human resources. These are the people that build things, manufacture things. Capital, this is the money that we use to drive our business. And then one of the things that hopefully, maybe some of you will have a desire to do, and that's entrepreneurship. That's to go out and start your own organization. We basically take all of the resources that we have, and we organize that to start a new business. And so at some point, maybe some of you already have started your own business, in which case that makes you an entrepreneur. That's a person who risks time, effort, and money to start and operate their own business. And so that may be in the future for you, or it may be actually what you're doing right now. So these are the factors of production. These are the things we need to produce goods and services. And what's most important, it is an organized effort of individuals, right? And so there's three different business types, that specific types that we're going to focus on. These are service businesses, for example, tax services, legal services, dental practices, medical practices. Those are the services that are provided. That's the service industry. Manufacturing business, those are any organizations that manufacture goods, tangible goods, for resale. And then marketing intermediaries, those are the companies that purchase products and then resell them. That could be a Target or a Nordstrom or a Sony. They don't actually manufacture their own goods. They actually purchase them and then resell them. So these really are the three business sectors that will be focused on this semester. Profit. So how do we measure profit? Basically, profit is the amount of money that remains after all business expenses have been deducted from sales revenue. A negative profit, which results from a firm's expenses are greater than its sales revenue, it's called a loss. So if you look at, here's the calculation. It's all of the sales revenue minus expenses equals profit. Okay, so sales revenues or sales or revenues minus expenses equals profit. One of the things that I like to talk about a lot in the class is stakeholder theory, and you may read Conscious Capitalism by John Mackey, and he talks a lot about stakeholders within that book. And it's basically all the different people or groups of people who are affected by an organization's policies. We really need to focus on those individuals and make sure that they're taken care of. Those are the employees, the customers, the investors, the environment, the community that we do business. Those are stakeholders, and stakeholder theory is pretty important when it comes to running a business. How do we measure our economy? Basically, productivity is the average level of output per worker per hour. Some of the economic indicators that we use are GDP, that's gross domestic product. That's the total dollar value of all goods and services produced by all people within the boundaries of a country. We'll look at inflation, which is the general rise in the level of prices, and deflation, which is a general decrease in the level of prices. And so you'll learn more about those in economics. The important, still other ones, the unemployment rate is a big measure. Consumer price index is another measure. And then PPI, which is the producer price index. All of these measures, all of these indices are used to determine whether our economy is growing or shrinking. A business cycle, there's basically four key parts of the business cycle, and that's basically a recurrence of periods of growth and recession in a nation's economy. Usually it'll have a peak, which is prosperity. It's a good time. Our economy is doing well. A recession is when our economy is not doing well, and that's two or more consecutive 3-month periods of decline in GDP. And then a depression, which is a severe recession. That's when we are really doing poorly. And then the trough is when we bottom out. And at that bottom out point, we'll start to grow again. And so I've put a chart here that I think that explains it well. Here you can see in 75, we were in a trough. This orange section is our recovery. The yellow is where we expand our economy. We hit a peak, and then you can see at that peak, we start to downturn, and we start coming down. Here at the green, once we start hit below 50%, we go into a recovery and a repair, and then all of a sudden we do it again. We hit that trough, wherever it is, when we start to turn back up to the recovery, then we're coming back up. So basically it goes recovery, expansion, downturn, repair, and then they come back up into recovery. This repair piece, this is where is important. This is where really you use economic, either lower interest rates, you can adjust the dollar, you can put in a lot of different economic stimulus packages to help the economy repair itself. And so that's what this green section is. Anytime you see these green sections, this is really where the economy was getting a boost from some sort of economic package, whether that was lower interest rates or some other form of economic stimulus. Today, our business really, our economic system provides Americans with a high standard of living. Most people are living at or above, what their parents probably did. Standard of living is a loose subjective measure, though. Really, you as an individual are the only one that can say how you're living. You really can't base it on somebody else's or what the government's saying or what the economists are saying. You know how satisfied you are with where you're at, what you're paying for goods and services. It does offer, our economic system does offer solutions to many of the problems that plague our society. There's a lot of different programs that our government uses to help people. If you look at things like Social Security, unemployment insurance, things like that the government helps with. Even though we pay for a lot of that, the government does subsidize it. And so there's lots of programs that the government uses to help lift people up. And between that public and private partnership, right, government working with private industry, you find a lot more opportunities for people to be lifted up. Current business environment, right? It's super competitive. It's global. It's a global environment. We are hyper connected with the world. So you're no longer just competing with people in San Diego or wherever you're at. You're competing with people all over the world. Okay. Social media has kind of taken over our lives and has become a powerful tool. Technology just in general has become a powerful tool. We really should be focused, and many companies are focused on sustainability because we do have very limited resources. And so that's not a liberal thing. It's not a conservative thing. It's just a thing that we need to be really focused on our resources, how we're using them. We're called to be stewards. And so we need to be stewards. And so companies with good CSR or sustainability programs can help make our environment better as well as still generate a profit. The challenges ahead, how do we create a more stable economy, particularly here in San Diego when our biggest, is tourism. And so during the pandemic, we noticed people with smaller companies were losing money because it was all tourist driven. How can we reduce the number of low income workers? How can we reduce the national debt? It is out of control. How can we meet the needs of low-income families, single parents, older Americans who need health care, right? And other social programs just to even exist. Those are all important. Those can be driven by business. How can we preserve the benefits of competition and small business in our economy? 90% of San Diego companies have fewer than 100 employees. That's amazing. We're a small business town, and we need to understand that. And then how can we conserve natural resources and sustain our environment? And how can we avoid the next pandemic? How can we see when it's coming? How can we avoid it? How can we still continue to recover from COVID? Those are all really important challenges that we need to meet. So that's it. That's chapter 1. I hope you all got a lot out of that between the reading and between these key points. This will be posted in the Canvas module. I hope you all have a great week, and we will talk to you soon.